Alright, what's up fellas? My name is Casual Champ. Today we're making a Valk guide. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. This guide will assume you know how to feint, and also it assumes you know how to do regular combos with Valk. You can see all of this in the moveset section. Moving on real quick with the punishes. I'm an idiot. So of course you get a light after a heavy punish, or you get a superior light, which you can do for almost twice more damage. Always think about that. Oh, hello, buddy. Or a light. Did you whiff on me, buddy? Well, you get a heavy after a light parry. Why do you keep whiffing? A guard break, you get a heavy from any direction. Come on, buddy. If you throw your opponent into a wall, you get a guaranteed sweep with the punish. I like to throw a heavy and start your combos. Does more damage this way, potentially. For a out of stamina throw, which would be the same as a revenge auto parry, you get a dodge light into sweep. And for a out of stamina parry, basically the same, but you don't have time to do a dodge light, so it's just light sweep. There's only 2 damage difference. Now we get into the combo section. Combos that I like to use. Of course, bro. Okay. Of course, this is what people expect, right? This is what people think Valks do. So we're not gonna spend too much time on that. I've been having a decent time landing the sweep after 2 raw heavies, especially if I'm ganking. Of course you can't feint everything, right? Always think about that. Every heavy can be feinted, soft feinted. Next I got the shield into heavy sweep. Everybody expects a light after a shield bash because the light is guaranteed, so why would you do anything else, right? If you do a heavy, it feels weird. You know, your opponent doesn't like it. For a second, you're gonna make him think, why is he doing the heavy? That guy doesn't know his punishes, right? So this helps land the sweep quite a lot. Next one thing I like to do, triple up light, because every time you get hit by a light, you start guessing where the next one's going to be, right? So real simple. Land all 3 in the noggin, just to mess with people. Actually works quite a lot. Something I like to do to get people twitchy. Let's do a heavy feint into a shield bash, soft feint into a light. If you're fighting an assassin, it's probably gonna do a dodge attack. Gotta watch those. Yeah, actually, this is pretty much what you're baiting, actually. If you're playing against one of these guys, I'm doing all wrong. You can always go for the guard break, since they can't really punish you with a dodge attack. So, in the training ground section with the hero tactic, they show us to bait or parry attempt and wait like this. I found out that this doesn't work a lot. This works a lot. You get him twitchy. It is kind of stamina extensive. Now let's talk about the option select. Every time you want to parry, you can always parry by inputting a zone attack. If he's going for the, if he's going with it, you're gonna parry. If he's trying to bait you for a guard break, your zone attack is gonna go through, and you're gonna beat his guard break. It's a pretty good option pair for that. Also, always keep in mind that you can superior life instead of regular parry. Also, you can deflect. It's a bit trickier though. And well, you can do this. Sure. Although this is never gonna beat a feint to guard break, so keep that in mind. It's gonna beat a feint to dodge attack though, which Kenzie likes to do a lot. Shaman as well. If you're fighting a Shigoki, and to an extent it also works against Hitokiri, but the timing it's a bit tighter. To beat Shigokis, charge heavy into Demon Embrace mix-up game. What you do is you input your parry for the normal heavy attack, and as soon as you do, you soft feint into a shield bash. So if he lets go a regular heavy, you're gonna parry it. If he charges it or he goes for the embrace, you're gonna beat it with the shield bash. This helps me a lot because I seem to always guess wrong against Shigoki. So the strategies I like to use with Valk is I like to with my mix-up game to mess with people's head. Especially with all the defensive options, because it's going to be hard for them to go for a parry bait if they don't know what your reaction is going to be. This is like what, 5 different reactions to a parry. This is pretty solid. You got to keep them guessing. If you're fighting against a guy with a hyper armor a lot, don't hesitate to use your dash a lot. If he starts dodging the bash, you go into a guard break, of course, or even heavy into heavy. This catches a lot of dodges. So now we're going to talk about the perks I recommend using. Remedy's a no-brainer. It synergizes really well with executions and the feat that we're going to use. Also, we'll talk about that later. The Radiant Rebound is apparently used in competitive matches because it helps people get to the B lane faster. But it only works every time you spawn, so you have to die to actually use it. So I don't think it's very useful. Feline Agility is a bit underwhelming, but it would help your rotations when you're playing Breach, because you do have to get all 4 of your renown level, so you might not get those every time you play Dominion. Supersonic, kind of useless. Clever Tactic is it's not amazing, but it's good enough that it should be your 3rd choice. Rising Dawn on paper is good. But I don't get to revive like 5 allies every time I play. So I don't think that's not worth it. An argument could be made for a third pick, but in my to my like an argument can be made for a third pick, but I don't think it's too good. Rapid refresh also sounds good on paper, but you're probably only going to be using 2 feats that have cooldowns. The other 2 will be passive, so again, it's not that useful. Feats, really, there's nothing you want to use here other than Bounty Hunter. I think it heals you 20 or 25. If you had your remedy, you get like 35. It's pretty sweet. Rush could be useful if you play in Tribute, which nobody plays anymore. I only play it. It is quite fun though, but I only play it when there's an order and I'm playing against bots. So yeah, Bloodlust is a no-brainer. Every time you kill someone, you get a very decent boost. I think it's 35, might even be 50% in your damage for 10 seconds. This is going to help you tremendously winning ganks, or anti-ganks, should I say. Bear Trap is real good to help you keep zone. Juggernaut the same, but you know, killing people it's more effective. Here I used to use Fury, because on paper Fury will land more damage than a 50 damage Javelin on paper. But Javelin gives you an opportunity to go for an insta-kill on someone that's a little below half health with 2 bars. So there's just nothing better than this. You know, of course you can hit more damage during the 10-20 seconds that Fury lasts, but an insta-kill, this is a game changer. And for this reason, I chose also Fire Flask instead of Scout. I used to use Scout a lot, but it buffs your entire team, which is good. It actually requires that your team is actually good at playing this game, which doesn't happen all the time, you know what I'm saying? So direct damage, in my opinion, is better. You throw this in a team fight, yes, you might burn your allies, but your team is probably going to win. So yeah, that's what I recommend using. Execution, you gotta think about that. All executions were not created equal. What I mean by that is, for example, this one heals, I believe, 35, no, 20. This one heals 35 damage. This one heals for 50 damage for about the same time as this one. So it's important to pick, you know, I guess we could call it pay to win, but you gotta buy an execution that heals for 50 damage and 50 HP, I'm sorry, and does it in a reasonable time. So this one does it in about 6 seconds, I believe. So it's fairly decent. Now we're trying a new thing. I'm calling it the evolution blueprint. So I'm going to put 5 points that I'm going to try to work on one point at a time. So you might be using the first one for a couple duels, or maybe one Dominion match. Might feel weird to only do one technique for an entire fight, but you know, you're trying to get better. You got to focus one thing at a time. So the first one is the heavy mind game. So you know, this actually might help you in the beginning, because everybody expects Valk to start with a light attack. So of course, you can heavy guard break, you can heavy self fight to shield bash, which, you know, you are working for your heavy mind game. Doesn't mean you don't have to get the free light attack. You can do you know, I kind of can't say move. Pop. Stamina? Yeah, that's it. So the second point, you're going to work on superior light. Oops. So every time you go for a parry, you're going to go for soup light. Next, for the third one, we're going to work on our shield bashes, or the shield charge mix-up. This one. So you're going to start doing this a lot. And missing. If you see a Orochi do his backstep thing, as soon as you see him backstepping, you can do this. It's pretty effective against it. You can wait for him. Don't wait for too long because you might. You can always cancel the heavy one into a guard break. So try to get people twitchy with this. And once they realize you're doing it, well, stop doing it. And then start it back again. Next, you're going to want to work on your other finishers that are not the sweep. And a very good light finisher does a substantial stamina damage. Pop. Pop. And also wall splat. It's pretty cool. This finisher looks a lot like a sweep. So use that a lot. Well, for a whole game you're not going to sweep. You're gonna get people scared of everything else you're doing. So once they're scared of it, you're gonna want to start sweeping, which is our number 5, the fun time. You start sweeping. But, you know, the only time you want to do this combo is when you're doing a punish and someone's already on his back. So as I mentioned in the combo section, this is going to help you learn to sweep quite a lot. So, you know, now that you know how to make people scared of your other finishes, you're going to be able to work on landing your sweep. Because, you know, you might be afraid to get guard broken. If it's an assassin doing, you know, they love to count 1, 2, and 3. They dodge attack. It's always a good idea to go for the parry for the dodge attack. Once they get scared, get a light parry, you might have a much easier time landing the sweep. And also you might notice I usually sweep after a heavy attack. It's because it's less expected. It has a very different flow to it. And I found that it lands a lot more consistently. Alright, let's look at some footage. Here we're getting a very easy deflect with the 4 dodge attack. I love those. And here we work on landing the sweep. The heavy catches the dodge, so he doesn't want to dodge anymore. Here we cause a little chaos with the fireball. We go for the sweep because we know the warlord's gonna be, he's not gonna be a dodger. Heavy, then sweep. Works like a charm. Then we go for the sweep light. GG, my man. Here we got a nice team fight. Shaman is really aggressive. We want to go back in the zone. Get some distance. And we see we can gang the Shaman. That's a bad sweep on my part. I'm sorry about that. And here I see that my teammates are already pretty aggressive. So I chill, and then the Highlanders comes in does his thing. Here I want to make sure I don't feed revenge, so I only punish what he does. Trying to cause a reaction. Very clean. Not very fast, but very clean. Here my teammate comes in. Again, I see he's super aggressive, so I don't want to hit too much. Just hit what I think I can punish. We get a pretty clean kill. Same teammate comes in. Still very aggressive. You want to be careful when you're fighting a revenged Shigoki. That's a good punch. Boom. It turns into a team fight. I still want to focus on Shigoki. He's almost dead. That's a missed parry. And yeah, he got revenge because my teammate's aggressive and I went for 2 guard breaks in a row. That's a dumb move on my part. I want to sweep him because gives a little breathing room. Same thing, I still want to focus on the Warlord, but my teammates managed to get the kill. Soup light, just what I missed, and I'm dead. Here we get another nice team fight. Run out of stamina super fast. I'm in big trouble. Use my feet. I get smacked hard. Well, I don't want to let it happen anymore, so I take my distance. Do a wide swing. Smack the Islander out of it. Kill him, get back my stamina with my Feats. And that was bad distancing on my part. I'll fix that. So that's a bad move also. You don't want to go for a sweep against the guy with revenge. But, you know, we got the kill. And here we learn about not celebrating early. That's the wrong punish. Still want to go for this kill. No. Poke a little. Oh, I see that she likes her dodge attacks. And I almost died. And the shaman gets a bit too cocky.
So I return the favor.
So that's it for this guide, fellas. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. And I'll see you guys later.